Hello, hello. What is going on, guys? Welcome to an odd, Friday, or not even Friday, man. Whew, I want it to be Friday. It's like a Tuesday afternoon stream right now. Feels really weird. We're at 5 o'clock Eastern right now for some of my European friends. You're at 11 o'clock at night. And then you got on the West Coast right now, it's 2 o'clock. And then you got some others where it's the next day and they're living in the future, which is pretty crazy. So welcome, guys. We're going to be hanging out today with Drew from the MeowCoin team, one of the co-founders, to kind of chat with them. I thought this would be a lot of fun. I was thinking about it. I was like, I could do a video on this and, it'd be cool. Okay. But I was like, how much fun would it be just to sit down and chat through it? What's going on with MeowCoin? How does it affect us as GPU miners? Because let's be honest, at the end of the day, that's really what matters. How is it going to affect us as a miner? And so that's where I thought it'd be awesome to just kind of get him on and we'll just kind of chat things out. So I'll be bringing him in here in about 4 minutes, guys, and we'll be chatting with him. We're going to hang out for an hour. I know Drew, I guess, is a busy man, as well as everybody's got stuff going on. So we're going to keep it to about an hour. We'll hang out and kind of catch up. So quick hellos in chat here. Son of a rabbitch. Hello. Nick Riley is here. We got Richie Rocket. Richie, how are those KS0s doing for you, brother? How are those coming along? KS0 Pros, I guess. Have you swapped off of Caspa and tried other things recently? Curious to hear about that. Neomorphous, welcome. Sea Otter Mining. I love your avatar, by the way. That is so cool looking with the otter with a little helmet on top. You are much more creative than I am. So kudos to you. And then Automatic Beats hanging out in chat as well. What's up, man? You got your GPU rigs up and running? Love to hear about it. I feel like I held this up earlier, my coffee mug, and was like, man, somebody needs to send me a MeowCoin one because I always use this Dogecoin one all the time. I use one mug. I have one. It's my Dogecoin mug. It's it. That's all I got. AMD cards, yeah, 100%. Yeah, I did put a poll out earlier. If you were here way early, about will you be running 𝐶𝐽 coin algorithms coming into spring and summer, at least for the northern kind of hemisphere where we are at. I know in other parts of the world, summer is kind of coming to an end, and so it's more mining season. We're actually in it still a little bit, but it was 56 today. It was really weird. Some of my alerts went off that it was over 100 on my exhaust side, which is fine. My exhaust side of my Asic shed could get up to 140. It's not a big deal. But I was like, dang, is that warm weather back already? It's thankfully Mother Nature's a little drunk and it's gotten a little cooler again, all in one day. You kind of get all 4 seasons in one day. So yeah, nice. Some good hash rate on them. Have 3 on solo and 3 on pool. Awesome. Very, very cool. Automatic Beat says my cards are always running, never off. What's up, all set? Welcome. Thanks for joining us here. Kyle Rosa, man, I feel like you're in everyone's stream. Just that name stands out. I feel like you kind of come in everywhere. You're over halfway to ROI. Don't look at ROI. Don't look at it. It's not worth it. Don't even look at it. 80 in Southern Illinois today. That's incredible. What's the difference between the Sapphire Nitro RX 580 XT and... Okay, so first off, I've never heard of an 580 XT. Are you sure that's not just a marketing deal with Sapphire, or is it actually a 580... kind of an overclocked version, calling it an XT. I've never heard of an XT version of a 580. What's up, Dakota Miner? Welcome, brother. Techman's here. Ooh, I like it. All right, cool. So let's go ahead here. We're going to bring in Drew. Drew, you good to go? Get the thumbs up there, hanging out in the lobby. Oh, yeah. He's like, let's go. Bring me in. All right, cool. So let's add Drew to our lobby here. Welcome, man. How are you?
Yeah, good, mate. How are you?
Oh, man, listen to that Australian accent. He must get all the ladies. Holy cow.
I only got one, mate. I only got one.
Good for you. Smart man. See, he knows what's going on. Well, welcome. Thanks for coming to hang out with me. I think it's been a while since you and I have actually chatted face to face. We did a video quite a ways back. So I am happy to have you on board. Is an hour enough? Good for you? Does that work? And I want to make sure I'm respecting your time. Awesome. I told people already, so you're just committed to it. They're already expecting it, so you can't go anywhere.
It's still good. I'm in the future anyway, because I'm one of those people.
You are, as I said, you're in the future. It's the next day here. A day for you. It's Wednesday, isn't it?
It's a sunny Wednesday this morning. Actually, a little bit overcast technically, but yeah, it's still right.
Awesome, guys. So thank you guys for coming in here. Wanted to give you guys a few minutes to kind of join in. I know more and more people will trickle in over the next hour, but today we're talking GPU mining, and more specifically, we're talking MeowCoin. And so, let's kind of jump into it a little bit. I think this is a broad statement to really throw over to you, but what has been going on with MeowCoin? Because I think that's a really big, it's a big question. So kind of what's been going on that really has put in more eyes on MeowCoin recently. So give us the rundown.
Yeah, look, there's actually been quite a lot. So to kind of take you back a little bit and give you a bit of a wrap up since when we last spoke, we've had a little bit of a problem with some devs in the sense of trying to get one to join the team. We sort of resolved that now with the introduction of a gentleman called Zach, who is a really lovely guy and has sort of
good job, Zach.
Yep, big job, Zach. And he's committed to sort of being part of the team moving forward. So that was great. We had a little bit of a downer moment when, unfortunately, my account got hacked on Discord and our Discord channel got imploded, which was really annoying. But we've started again. That's all fine. Everything is sort of, back on track. So it's just really sad that there's, people who want to take advantage of each other still in crypto, but it's a big bad world out there sometimes. Since then, what we've been trying to do is a couple of things. We wanted to improve on the core wallet and the security that we had within our essentially chain. So Zach has worked really hard to bring that up to speed, which is fantastic. So that was our first release that he did. And then he got set to work on changing the algorithm itself. So we're moving from 𝐾𝐽, which miners in summer, they love its resistance to ASICs. They hate its power or its heat. It's like having a burning sun in your living room, which is always entertaining. But we've actually adjusted the algorithm in 𝐷Power to create our own. And we're going to call it MeowPower. So that's been
interesting. So let me catch you on that first, because I know, trust me, you got so much to share with us. So let me dig into that a little bit. So, what was the driving factor behind the change? Like, what really was the reason that your team was like, we need to adjust? I wouldn't say changing algos entirely, but I would say adjust, because I believe you've tweaked a few things with the 𝐾𝐽 algorithm. But what was that driving factor behind it for your team?
It's always been something that we've wanted to do. We just weren't entirely certain when to do it. So we knew that from just purely from a marketing point of view. And I know it sounds a little bit vain at some level, but from a branding perspective, 𝐾𝐽 is Ravencoin's sort of algorithm, or that's how we feel about it. And we're really grateful for all the work that team has done to contribute to the crypto ecosphere. And in fact, it's sort of what's prompted us to do what we're doing with MeowCoin. But we also want to sort of strive forward on our own and allow 𝐾𝐽 to be Ravencoins and sort of let them have that. So what we wanted to do was craft an algorithm which was still ASIC resistant, but a little bit friendlier to the power bill of miners. And the primary reason behind that is we believe that the best communities that can be built in the crypto sphere are ones that are founded in mining. So you bring the miners in and you create that as your bedrock, and then gradually retail will begin to notice that and the mission that we're on. So we believe that.
So I think, I think that's awesome. So to talk on that a little bit in that regard, it sounds like, 𝐾𝐽 was your stepping stone into the space, but now you're trying to find really you're trying to create your own identity versus another 𝐾𝐽 coin. We constantly hear that and see that as miners. Like, oh my gosh, have you seen the last 12 months? It's like another 𝐾𝐽 coin, another 𝐾𝐽 coin. And, from a miner's perspective, they all kind of start, I'll be honest, they all start to run together. Like, as much as you want to have project loyalty, they all kind of start to run together. And as GPU miners, you're really just like, okay, which one's profitable for me now? Or better yet, during the bear market, which one can I build a bag of? And, I kind of threw that in chat there, kind of reaching out to people to see, what have you been building your bags with over the last 12 months? I'm more than that, a year and a half or so. So it's kind of nice to hear that, you guys have gotten your feet off the ground and now you're like, we want to build our own identity. And with that comes a different adjustment to the algorithm. which is, I think, definitely appreciated, especially us as miners. It also is nice to hear that, your miners, they're keeping your network decentralized, first off, which I think is also a big win, that you guys see the value of it. There's a lot of projects we deal with that very quickly move off the allocation to miners. They're like, oh, they're creating liquidation, I want to move off of that. And it's like, that's with any project in crypto. Liquidation is going to be key. That's the world we live in. So tell me a little bit about the changes that were made, in the direction that you guys went, because I guess it's not 𝐶𝐸 coin, correct? But it's kind of still within that ecosystem, would you say, or correct me there? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so ProgPower is the base algorithm. So think of it like I'm gonna put it in the sense of levers that sort of exist.
Okay.
Within an algorithm, right? So ProgPower is essentially all the neutral the levers all in a neutral position, and the creator of ProgPower, the coders did that very deliberately, as their intention was for other crypto projects to build on that algorithm. And use it in the way that they wanted to use it. So essentially what we did is we took where we were at 𝐶𝐸 and we looked at the levers, and now it turned up in certain areas and turned down in others. And we've basically fiddled with it ourselves to make it a much more, it's basically less core intensive. So it's a little bit more, it's still a bit more mem intensive, but it's resembling more, I suppose, in the sense of ETH hash, in the sense of how the GPU is utilized, which is, that's great in the sense of, I keep saying in the sense of, I really need to stop doing that, but
that's okay. You're good. I appreciate it.
Yeah. The idea is we wanted to make it less power intensive. And so that at some level is going to make it resemble Ethereum hash or even GoStag at some level, because that's how those, that's how the hardware works. Right. So we basically fiddled with it, and we made it go down that path. We're also increasing the DAG to 4 gigabytes. There's a very deliberate reason behind that.
And what was it originally? What was it previously?
I think it's about 1.5. So
1.5. Okay.
Yep.
And what does that DAG change do for overall for the project, overall for us miners? What is the value of increasing that?
Yeah. So the point is that we wanted to we have no problem with industrial miners. We really understand it, and people who want to mine big, we're completely behind that. But we do know that there are miners out there that are industrial and have warehouses full of RX 580s that sort of sit at that 4 gigabyte range. What we wanted to do was prioritize the home miner or the smaller miner, essentially. So build our community around people who have a rack, have 6 GPUs sitting on it, and then want to mine a coin and see some profits. So we deliberately went down that path. And that's not to say that we don't appreciate industrial miners, because that's not the truth at all. It's just that we wanted to move towards a certain group of people, and the best way to do that was to adjust the DAG size.
No, I love that. I mean, it's so funny because like in an era of now where like AI and proof of useful work is so buzzy, it's like all of these projects are moving towards that enterprise miner with like high-end GPUs, which are really out of reach for home miners. And I like the 4 gigabyte avenue that you're going. I think for majority of home miners, 4 gigabyte, there isn't a hard ask there for home miners. That's where I started. I mean, I didn't have my first 6 gigabyte card to mine Ethereum for a year and a half into my mining journey. Like I was just 4 gigabyte through and through. So totally understandable. I do like that. So going back to the algorithm a little bit, you talked about it. It'll be less core intensive. You talked about less power intensive, which is thank you. Do appreciate that, which I think is awesome. So let's kind of like, have you guys gotten, are we to the point yet? And I apologize, I can't keep up with every project, but are we to the point yet where like it's available for testing yet, this new algorithm and things like that? Or are we not to a testnet yet?
Yep. So we do have a testnet. I can actually send that to you if you want to publish
Perfect.
that to your audience. That's totally fine.
Yep.
We've seen effectively a 40% reduction in the power so far.
Wow.
GPUs we've tested. So we had a 4090 tested, and I think it went down from, I might misquote the numbers here, but it went from 380 to 240 or 260, something like that. And we had some 4070s tests, and they've dropped by approximately the same. I spun up my 3070 Ti's and a 3080 and had a look at it, and it was roughly in that. It bobbled between 35 to 45%, depending on the GPU. So that was really good. And when you had it overclocked correctly, that was great. I think there was someone, I have a feeling it was Second Chance Miner or someone did it on a 3070. Okay. Saw basically a reduction down to about 120 mega hash. And I think he was perhaps a little bit disappointed with the efficiency on the 3070. But from my perspective, I looked at that and I go, that's below Ethereum hash for КPL.
Yeah, it's nuts to think about. Like you kind of rambled through a few cards there, and where I naturally go with КPL algorithms. I know we're not there. We're talking something different now. I naturally go to AMD, and I'm like 6600, 6600 XT, 6700. So I'm like, wow, like talking about how well the NVIDIA cards are doing. I can only imagine where the AMD cards are going to be, which is fantastic. I mean, I think this also adds some attraction for GPU miners. You know, as we're starting to step into some of these warmer seasons, it's very much so like, hey, we are cognizant of the fact of, you know, these different algorithms and power cost. And because at the end of the day, it comes down to electric cost too. Heat's definitely the factor we feel initially, but our pocket is really where it hits us from there. So where would you, so let's talk overclock settings even. And I know we're super early on this, but our КПL overclock settings really aren't going to apply anymore. Is that correct?
Correct, yeah. So it's a whole new world. So we've got a little bit of work to do in terms of helping the community find best overclocking settings, and that's really by the testnet and reporting back what we're finding and getting people on there and suggesting, hey, I'm doing this and this is returning that. So I think there's a little bit more that we could potentially do around, you know, helping the community find what the sweet spot's going to be. But those settings are going to genuinely, you know, come into effect in about 20 days, roughly. We've also let WhatToMine know of the change itself. So Fred's aware, which is great. He's been a supporter of, you know, miners for a long time. And he's also a great supporter of us, and we wanted to keep him in the loop. So we've sort of let him know that that's what's going to happen. So he's going to watch out and have a look around.
Have you guys reached out to hashrate.no yet to let them know as well?
To be honest with you, I can't find their contact details, so I need to probably try. But yes, that will be something that I've been trying to do. The exchanges all know, the mining people know, so they're all updating accordingly, which is great.
Man, I'm excited. I'm excited for you guys. I think this is great. So man, I could talk about like just like that part of it for a while now, but I got lots of other really good questions because I want to find out more. So what you talked ETH hash here. Is that really what you would equate this to being as close to as, like, if you were to pick an algorithm that was as close to this, would that really be it? Is ETH hash really what you would compare this to? And how would you compare it to it? Is it just the power, or are you talking about the way the algorithm's designed for the core and the memory intensity? Like, kind of, what are you comparing it to and why?
It's more in the terms of the power usage. So we've essentially brought it back in line or under ETH hash in some ways. So I only use that comparison because I know a lot of miners still have that as the gold standard in their mind, and you know, Ethereum Classic's still around. So in the sense of trying to get a comparable algorithm from a memory usage perspective or a power usage perspective, that's kind of where we're rounding out. The aim was to go as low as we could go, because our thought on this is that the algorithm we've got is ASIC resistant by its nature. Obviously, more power that you can run through an algorithm, the more ASIC resistant it will be, which is, you know, still something that we can adjust down the track if something were to happen. But our idea was to drop it as low as we possibly could get to improve the performance for miners. Because at what risk do we take with the ASIC resistance? So like you had mentioned ASIC resistance, and as we lower the power, it becomes less resistant. So is this, I would say then, based off of that, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that we are giving up a little bit of ASIC resistance as GPU miners in order to have lower watt consumption? Does that sound accurate? Not quite. It's not quite that cut cut forward. So basically, the algorithm itself is ASIC resistant because of the way that it flips between the algorithms. So ProgPower has, I'm going to get corrected on this, but I believe it's 13 or 21 different algorithms which it flicks between.
Okay.
And that's what actually helps with the resistance of it. My suggestion is that you can additionally improve, I suppose, your ASIC resistedness by improving the amount of power that you have pumping through it. So in technicality, you could dial up 𝐾𝐽 and make it like incredibly power intensive. So there's that element to it, which is always a feature. But we ourselves believe that ProgPower is going to form the majority of our ASIC resistance. The other part of it is because we're a micro cap, and because we are our own algorithm now. One of the interesting pieces about there being multiple 𝐾𝐽 algorithms is that if an ASIC was produced, it would be able to mine all of them.
Wow. Okay, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So it comes down to an efficiency perspective. So how much is the ASIC actually going to get out of mining it versus a GPU? Initially, you would argue that there's probably only maybe 20 to 30% additional revenue that you could get out of an ASIC for something on 𝐾𝐽, and that's just based on the testings that a few people have done. So our belief is that is a little bit of a risk that someone could produce a more power efficient ASIC. So us being on our own algorithm now means that we completely remove that. You would need to produce silicon especially for us, which sets us apart. So we'd need to have a multi-billion-dollar market cap to a producer to do it. So from an economics point of view, we've essentially created an additional resistance, shall we say. So that's kind of what we wanted to do as well.
So you had mentioned 20 days. So is that really what our timeline is? Like, as GPU miners, what can we expect? When's your timeline for this with the algorithm change?
Yep. So it's 20 days roughly. So it ticks over and I lose track. It's now down to 19 days and 23 hours. So it's literally just ticked into there. So it's not long at all, really. So we wanted to kind of get out there and advise people who are, supporters of the network, but also people who might not have known about it, that we're trying to do some things for miners in the efficiency game. And also to those who, have probably known about us, but were a bit like, my setup doesn't work with the power intensity. Well, we've kind of fixed that for you now. So if you wanted to jump along the bag, you've got that opportunity.
So with that as your timeline, what will happen with any existing rigs on MeowCoin at that time? What can they expect for miners that don't make any changes and all of a sudden this occurs? Yep.
So they will, it depends on how their overclock settings are. So when I mine, I basically allow my power draw to be neutral. So it only takes what the algorithm requires. So if I've got all my updates right, everything is running accordingly, what will end up happening is it should shift over into the new power element, I guess, and you'll draw down if you've got that power slot open. So that's how I used to do it on Hive OS. I just used to allow it to allow the GPUs to draw the power itself. There will be some minor upgrades itself. So we've let 𝐓𝐨𝐲 𝐆𝐏, we've contacted LOL Miner as well. We've been trying to get in contact with T-Rex, but I think he's not doing any of the updates, or he hasn't updated anything recently. Wrong on that, but we haven't been able to kind of contact him. So they'll kind of switch everything around and do everything that they require. But my recommendation is, come the change, just be around your miners, have a look, check out how they're going, and if something happens, obviously adapt and adjust accordingly. So maybe switch to a different miner software if you need to. So, but we've tried to contact all the main ones to get them across it.
So I guess my question there is, like, we don't have to make any adjustments to what algorithm it is in Hive OS or anything like that. Like it's gonna carry through.
Yeah. So we've identified that to Hive as well. They haven't got to us in terms of any specific things that we need to be doing. But we wanted to advise them. So our belief is at the moment, no, there's no change for what we have.
I'm just surprised because like if it is it really what did you say it was called? MeowPal, right? That's what you guys have named the new algorithm. So like to me, I would feel like that like if it's really being treated separately, you would almost need that within your rig configuration to say like it's not 𝐶𝐶, it's MeowPal now. I mean, I'm just trying to understand it from a GPU miner's perspective.
Yeah, sure. And I completely understand. That's what we've been told is that if they're running on Hive, it should be fine. But again, like I say, I would probably be looking at when the block change is going to happen and being on task and then switching over. So that would be what I would be recommending.
Okay. Now I'm tempted. I'm going to reach out to some of my resources at Hive OS and be like, all right, guys, is this accurate? Because like you just know how it is where you're like, all right, this will be good, and then it occurs and then it's not, and then you have to make a change. So that's why I'm very curious on how it would work. It would I'm just, especially with the miners, everything like that. So yeah, I'll be that's just kind of something, curiosity where it goes my direction with that. So with those changes,
shoot me a message.
Oh, I will definitely trust me. I'm going to take this interview and send it to my contacts at Hive and be like, I want to validate this is accurate, because when I go into Hive and I look at my MeowCoin rig, like it says 𝐶𝐶, like, because that's the algorithm it's on. Well, it won't be 𝐶𝐶 anymore. So like, you know what I mean? So, but we'll see. You know, we'll put it to the test. So is there any change? Let's talk about, you talked a little bit earlier about the core wallet. Is there any change that has to exist with this change with the core wallet, or no, it's business as usual?
So you do need to update the core wallet. So 2.0 point, I think it's either 3 or 7. I think I think Zach has been busy working through that, but definitely 3 is what we need to be updating. I can actually send you through some information on that as well, but you need to update that core wallet as that's what will allow the all the nodes that people are running to adjust accordingly to accept the new algo. This is essentially a hard fork. So this is why we need to have everyone on the actual new core wallet. So yes, you do need to change that core wallet, and that's what we recommend everyone to do, is to get on there. If you're running a node, update it. If you're currently using it, update it. On the plus side, it's now been all branded MeowCoin as well, which is one thing that we're really keen to do. So that's now there, which it's pretty. It looks good. I love the colors. And it kind of leads us now into a space where we can go, hey, we're our own entity.
Yeah, no, I think that's smart. So something as a GPU miner, I have to ask is there anything in the works on a working with some of these groups for additional wallet options? Right now, the core wallet, I've been using the core wallet forever. I got it on a VM. I have no issues with it. I'm not saying there's a problem with it, but as you know, kind of having options is big for us. So is that anywhere down the pipeline for you guys?
Yeah, look, so that's a really good one. It is part of our conversations on our roadmap in the sense of we really want to build a mobile wallet that will support miners to be able to have something on their phone or in a more user-friendly sense. We have not undertaken that. We had a bit of a stab at doing a web wallet. It wasn't quite what we wanted, so we elected to shut that down. We've reached out to different wallets to get options there. So Trust, Ledger, all of those ones. Can we look at integrating with you? Their response is quite surprising in the sense of we're too small, which is disappointing. And because we're not a
who you should talk to is actually Tangem. I don't know if you have with them yet. And the reason I say that is Tangem has made a massive push to bring on proof of work coins. Like they got Dynex coming next week. They've had like Radiant in there. Like they are very much if you were to say a wallet that is your GPU miner's wallet of choice, it literally is Tangem. And it's not just because like it's easy to use, but because of the fact that like if you look at the roadmap for the next few months, it's all small proof of work coins. Like it's nothing crazy. So see, you're learning something today too. Look at that,
There you go.
But yeah, that might be a really good option, because Tangem has really come in over the last, I'd say, 6 months for GPU miners, because they very much identify with us on what we're looking for. It's kind of like what you're talking about, where like you are very much see the value of all your changes for miners. They see all the changes for miners with what they're making with the algorithm. So something to take a look at.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I'll reach out to them for sure. We currently do have a Vidulum, and we currently do have Gemlink as well, both of which are wallet options. And Beehive is also an option too if you wanted to use something that was also community based and community funded. So we're really proud of those options. But yeah, it's a case of there's a pecking order with those large wallets, and they don't want to talk to you. Can either contribute to their dev fees or what have you, which is a little bit disappointing. I'm not going to lie. That's kind of life, right? So that's just how it goes.
Yeah, it's very much I trust me, I get it. Like when I look at something like Ledger, which we put kind of up there, it's like, man, you don't see them bringing on any of these. Like, it seems like a lot of these wallets have gone the direction of like stepping away a little bit from proof of work, and they're just kind of bringing on what's buzzy, which I get. It's the same thing you run into with exchanges, with having to pay versus actually them wanting to adopt it for the transaction levels. And I think there's definitely some options there. If you have issues just getting a hold of somebody or somebody from Tangem, let me know. I have plenty of contacts there. I can get you in contact with them because I definitely want to help you guys out with that. So we talked a lot about the algorithm. We talked about GPU mining there, which I'm excited to test this out. I mean, I think this will be really cool. Red Fox Crypto just did a video the other day on Ironfish and kind of some of their changes that they're making with their algorithm. So now I'm like, all right, Red Fox, I'm ready for your MeowCoin testnet video. You know, I want to see you test it across the board, which will be great. I mean, it's funny because all we've heard and talked about over the last 15 months or 16 months has been Kapalcoin algorithms. I mean, Aletheium has been one exception more recently, which is nice. But it's kind of nice to be able to throw another coin in the ring to be able to say like, hey, this is a great option. So kudos to you guys. I mean, I think that's awesome. So let's talk exchanges. What challenges have you guys ran into with exchanges? Because I imagine based off of how you've made out with wallets, exchanges aren't any easier for you.
Yeah, I need to be careful with how I say a lot of things because obviously it's a very piece. A lot of people will come into our Discord and they'll say, hey, why can't we get onto MEXC? Why can't we get onto Bitmart? Why can't we get onto, the hashtag when Binance is always one that we love to see. And we want to firstly just say, like, we're really like keen to get people more exchanges. That's not the issue. The challenge for us is the cost that comes and is associated with that. So what I'll do is I'll explain what there is in and amongst a listing, because I don't think people actually understand the process. So the first thing is you have to meet their criteria. Now, thankfully, MeowCoin is at that point where we're starting to obviously meet criteria for larger exchanges, and we have had quite a number of them approach us. The next piece is there's a listing fee. That listing fee is generally 5 figures and quite often pushes into the 6. So in the sense of just paying to play, you have to pay to play.
Cool. I was literally going to use that terminology. It's exactly what it is. It's like it's your ticket in. It's not even like anything more than that.
Yeah, that's exactly right. The additional part to that is you then need to often provide an incentive for the existing community. So that generally turns into an airdrop, which we ourselves are not a big fan of. We don't believe in giving away.
Yeah, neither am I. Yeah.
We think that, miners mine coin, traders trade coin. People shouldn't just get coin for free, unless we run a valid competition where there's a that's its own thing. So there's that part. Then there's what they call liquidity. So liquidity is you need to provide both sides of the marketplace, and that is to create a trading environment. So our kind of perspective is that figure generally amounts to high 5 figures, low 4s in many senses, low 6s in many senses. Or you will get exchanges who will come and ask for listing, but they will not offer you anything as a way of kind of going, hey, this is what we want to do.
Gotcha.
So the low 10s, we have had sort of some conversations with exchanges. But they're not exchanges that people naturally come and ask us for. So we're a little bit reluctant to spend money on things which the community don't want.
Mm-hmm.
So we try to listen as much as possible. We're very aware that people want 𝐹𝐶. So the whole piece of the puzzle is we've believed in development first and securing roadmap and marketing. They're the three things that we believe are important. We want to push in that direction as much as we can until we get to a point where it's just irrefutable that we need to jump onto another exchange. And at that point, we're hoping we have enough sort of reserves to actually do that. But it is such a heavy cost to the project that it prevents us to do other things. And given we're completely self-funded, we fund out of the block reward that we receive. We're very reluctant to misuse funds that, you know, we believe could be put to better use, you know, either through a donation, through work or whatever.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I mean, I constantly hear from a lot of other projects too that like that's one of the biggest hurdles for them is exchanges. Like they love to just snap their fingers and they're on every exchange that they need to be, especially some of the biggest ones, like Coinbase and other ones like that would at least add, you know, quite that level. But I get it, you know, that pay to play market, and when your budgets are very minimal, being able to spend that kind of money just to be a part of it, I think is definitely a challenge. So kudos to you guys for hanging tight. I mean, it you know, the community makes it work, and if an exchange wants your business enough, they'll kind of roll out the red carpet for you. So I can totally understand that. So for those people that are tuning in here, that listen to it later, that aren't familiar, you're catching up here. MeowCoin's got a lot going on. They're changing their algorithm. It's going to be very, shouldn't say power intensive. Actually, the complete opposite is going to be very low now, competing on like an ETH hash level. We're going to be changing algorithms and everything. You know, so welcome. Big shocker for you guys. You know, if you're coming into things a little bit later, keep your eye on MeowCoin in the next about 20 days, because it's definitely going to be the coin to mine. So on that, for those people that don't even know what the project is, you know, what is kind of and this is a question that you can't really ask a lot of crypto projects because they just don't have it, but what is the real world application for your project?
Yeah, excellent question. Excellent. And I'm glad we got there in the end, because I think that's something that we're really passionate about. So Nancy and I, when we first started the project, it began as a kind of an idea of, we believe that there is a great deal of hash out there and a great deal of miners who want to do something with their GPU rigs and know that what they're mining actually has some use. Me being the marketer that I am, and me having sort of the background that I've got, I was really, really keen to make sure that anything that I was associated with actually was something that had a business purpose. So in the process of kind of writing and sitting down and doing the white paper, I was thinking through what are the practical uses and what are the things that actually crypto project can look to implement. Tokenizing animals is basically what I landed on. Now, you probably go, how do you do that? Why would you do that? What's the point in that? There's a couple of reasons why. From an animal breeder's perspective, they want to understand how each of the animals that exist within the show circuit interact and are related to each other. So the traits, where the animals come from, that's all actually very important to animal breeders. Currently, what they use is something called pedigree papers. It is literally a piece of paper that you receive with the lineage, right? So those papers are not logged anywhere. They're not. There's no universal database of where that exists. And our belief is that blockchain solves that problem. And what we want to do is actually implement that within the breeder networks. So that's part one. Part two is obviously with the animal shelters themselves. Currently, they don't have what's called a CRM, or an ability to manage their animals within their networks. And in fact, the software that is often used to try and duct tape a solution is customized. It's not sort of nationally provided. It's never really updated because the market itself is again not very tech savvy, right? So what we were is build a network or a system that allows shelters to log in and to actually track all the animals that they've got in their shelter database, and then point out when an animal is adopted to who that person is going to. This is where it gets a little.
You guys are building that specifically.
Yeah, that's what Paw Print is all about. So that's
Wow.
what we're actually undertaking to build. So the really curious part within that is obviously people know that dogs and cats get something called a microchip, right? So an animal goes in and they get sort of pinged with a little, it's like a little capsule. It goes in just underneath their skin, allows them to be scanned when they go missing. Those microchips themselves is that they're competing companies, and the readers that they use for them are different for each microchip, which means that you could actually have a dog loss and it will go across council areas, and essentially what it will land on is a council that doesn't use the microchip reader, and so the dog will remain lost. What we actually want to do is build a system whereby you can purchase a little token like for the collar of your cat or your dog with a QR code in there, and you'll scan the code, and then basically if your animal's missing, it'll ping the owner and send them the mobile phone number of the person who's found it and the location settings. So that's what we're trying to do.
So what's your timeline on a lot of that? I mean, I know it's got some very high expectations there, but what's your timeline on that? Like, is that out now? Is that something you guys are building actively? Not necessarily the QR side with the scanning, but more just the platform and database.
So the platform itself is something that we've got the wireframes for, and we're in the process of actually building. So that's what we want to do and have been sort of making movements towards. I think where we've kind of had a little bit of a challenge is we've wanted to build this out and just had some challenges getting the right dev to help us. Zach, and now with obviously Chad at Rhubarb. Chad's a wonderful resource that we've been able to bring into the project, and he's going to be helping us to sort of build that out in both the marketing and also the front end, which is fantastic, and we're really grateful to him for that. And then as we build that out, we'll be able to get a model working where we can trial it with a couple of shelters around where we live. I know one in Australia that would be really keen to look at something like this, so we'd be keen to sort of engage with them. And then after we sort of get that working, we'll start to slowly seed it out to other shelters to utilize.
That's impressive. Yeah, I mean, I think that's that's the nice thing that we've had so many cryptos pop up over the last year and a half. A lot of them, as we talked about earlier, on the Capel algorithm because they were just easier turnkey solutions to get things off the ground, and their use cases close to nothing or super minimal. So it's nice to hear, and I know people are talking about that in chat. It's nice to hear you actually have true use case with this project, which I think is really, really great. So guys, we have about 15 minutes left. I'd love to open this up to the chat to answer questions. But before we do, Drew, is there anything else that you feel that is going on with the project that my community GPU miners really need to know about that maybe we skimmed over earlier when we were talking about GPU mining?
Yeah, sure. Just from a tech development point of view, in and amongst obviously what we're doing with Paw Print, there is some other scale technologies that we're looking to build in. So SegWit and Taproot are what we're investigating at the moment. And we are talking about, but haven't settled on block sizes. So moving from our current block size to potentially something like 32 meg. The reasons for that is obviously to speed up and improve the usability of the network. And our aim is to obviously make sure that the tech that we've got is as awesome as humanly possible. Yeah. So that's what we're doing.
You guys are definitely on the right path. I'll be honest with you. Like, I kind of intentionally did not look too much into what the changes you were making because I wanted some of my responses for today's interview to be more natural on the fact of what is going on. So the fact that you guys are changing your algorithm to be less power intensive, to allow it to be less core intensive so that it's friendlier to home miners, I mean, it's fantastic. I mean, I think that's great. And if the transition, that's the biggest one I'm curious on. If the hard fork that does occur is as easy as you're saying, I mean, that's awesome. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So we'll check in chat here, take some questions from you guys. If you guys really want the full scope, go back in on the live stream, go back and take a look. We talked heavily on GPU mining, on the algorithm, on overclock settings, on GPUs. We talked all about that and what's to come. Cliff notes, MeowCoin is going to be very similar from a power consumption usage to ETH, which is nuts. So let's take a look here. Will Paw Print QR codes be linked to NFTs? That's interesting.
Well, that's the beauty of it. So basically with our chain, we have a built-in asset layer. So yes, we will be actually tagging the animals to an NFT. So each animal will be basically a real-world asset.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. So we talked pretty in depth about will it be ASIC resistant? Give the cliff notes there, because we don't need to get, because you and I got into more of the nitty gritty, definitely, but give the cliff notes there again.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be ASIC resistant. ProgPow at its core fundamental is an ASIC resistant algorithm. Our basically also the size of us as a microcap, we're just never going to have an ASIC producer come and build silicon for our chain. Not until we're in the billions of dollars from a market cap, which at that point we're hoping that if it occurs, everyone, you won't care, because you'll just all be, meowlionaires. That's the aim.
Meowlionaires. Wow. All right. I like it. So how can we participate in the testnet? And we talked about this earlier a little bit. The value of checking out the testnet now is very much, you could take your GPUs and start to get them set up, tweak your overclock settings, get everything ready to go. So when that hard fork occurs, you're really yielding quite a bit. So how can folks get in on that testnet today?
So if you join our Discord, that's an easy way. We can basically guide you to it. Or if you jump onto our website, there is some guidance in terms of some instructions on how to get on there. We're really happy to have a chat as well if you need it in Discord. We want you all to be able to access it, essentially, and we want you to be able to use it. So just come and have a chat with us. If you can't find our Discord, check out our Twitter. That's, we can point you in the right direction.
I got it right here. I'll post it in chat. Well, I nabbed it while you were talking there, so that'll be right there. So I love this from Dave. Can a found animal cause a miner reward? That would be awesome. Or like a bonus, like all of a sudden, like, a block gets hit, and stuff like that. So what are your thoughts on that? Have you heard that before?
I haven't got an answer to that question. I think it's a question.
I like it. I like it. Good job, Dave.
With animal reward, that one works. So yeah, I love it.
That's cool.
I wish every saved animal was a block reward of some sort. So yeah.
Yep. Hello to Black Tiger Miner. Welcome. Happy to have you. Thanks for coming to check in. Guys, so we're going to take about 10 minutes more of questions. Feel free to post in chat. I know a lot of you guys are coming late. I get it. You come and go through these live streams. The full VOD will be up. I will say, as a miner, definitely check out the beginning of about the first half. We really talked about mining, algorithm changes, overclock settings, GPUs, we really got into it, and I think it would be valuable to you guys, because you don't want to sleep on it. Hard fork's going to occur, and you're going to be able to lower those watts down pretty significantly, which is nice. I do see that. This one here, John Doe here says, can I stake MeowCoin? Are you aware of anywhere that you can do that?
No, I'm not aware of anywhere that you can do it. Okay. We haven't built in any staking capabilities. So we wanted to ensure that it was as pure a miner reward as possible.
Yeah.
And that's was our philosophical decision from the start.
I like if you ever get down that road and path, the Nervos CKB, they have it built into their core wallet, which is fantastic. I love that. So you could it's all self custody, so you can actually do it right within your wallet, and you can pick the increments, and it's really convenient. So I really didn't come across that until I actually got into that project with the K7, and then went, wow, this is really convenient. Like, it's all within your own ecosystem, which is great. That's really something that folks don't see a lot of, is self-custody staking. So there's always that idea there, which is nice. Let's see. Point us to where to mine early, since we are grassroots. Well, you can't really mine it early if it's a hard fork. Like, it's literally now, is it based off timing, or you guys initiate it, or is it a block that actually forces this over?
Yeah, so it's at the turning of a block, it'll switch over, basically. So we wanted to time it in a future block. A, to give us the time to get everyone on board, but B, just so it's a really fair, no one can start it early. It's as fair as we could have made it.
So Killer65 has a comment here, and I will answer this because I think that's a better avenue to go here. So any core wallet, regardless of the project, I would recommend that you put on its own system, separate that's not on the internet. If you don't have to, connect it to the internet every once in a while as you need to. There's a lot of really good videos out there. I have several on doing it virtual machines. 𝐓𝐨𝐩 just dropped a video yesterday on core wallets and a creative idea to store them with one core wallet on every solid state drive. And it's just a separate Windows instance on each of them. I would imagine Drew would say, of course, yeah, it's safe. We know we made it. It's great. I get it, but I hate for you guys to carry that sentiment into other projects. So just better to be super safe with your core wallets. You never know what you're installing.
I think the biggest thing about all code is you need to understand where it's come from. I think the benefit with a project like ours is because it's been in the ecosystem for a lot longer. Anything that could have been a problem would have been exposed by this point. And I know that Yeti has actually gone through the core wallet and had a look at it. So from that perspective, great.
Nice. Yeah.
But from my personal perspective as a miner, extraneous to the MeowCoin project, I would always recommend you are very diligent in checking any software of any sort, because it can and will happen. And unfortunately, we've seen it before. And I've been a victim of bad code before too. So don't feel dumb. It's just, it happens.
So a question here from Hash Goblin. Will there be a live viewing party for the fork?
Oh, that's a good question. I have a feeling that Rhubarb will want us to go live with that. And I have a feeling that I probably will need to be sitting on YouTube with a little hat.
Nice.
Going down that path. So I'm pretty keen to do something like that. I just need to work out what the timing is going to be like from will it be 3 a.m. in the morning perspective for me, or will it be, another time? But we'll work that one out.
Now, is the timer on the website here, that is just an estimate, correct? It's not the actual, because it comes out on the block, which can be sped up or slowed down at every given time. Is that correct?
Yeah, so we timed it on the basis of when the block should occur, because obviously the block rewards are consistent. You can understand the incremental time to get there. So we sort of timed it to that. Obviously, it may deviate by a couple of minutes based on the network being what it is, right? Sure. Yep.
19 days, 23 hours, 7 minutes, and 25 seconds from right now is what it's saying, which I love it, which is cool. Let's see here. Is a way to unlock a wallet. Okay, so here's a question about the wallet. Somebody that has an older wallet there, but I can't unlock it. So was this what? I'll let you kind of read through that. But he says, "Is a way to unlock a wallet. I have a version 4.4, but I can't unlock it. Do you have any ways to open the wallet, or is there a back-end way?" So that's a challenge. That's a big one. There's not really back-end ways. That's kind of the goal of the wallet itself, But I didn't know if that's something, a case of it needs to be updated in this manner or anything like that. I know that's the challenge of core wallets. Sometimes they get so outdated if you're not keeping up with it.
Yeah. Look, I would recommend you jump into the Discord and have a chat with us there. We can have a look at what you've got. Send us some screenshots of where you're at or what you're having challenges with, and we'll see if we can do a little bit of support desk.
Nice. There you go. There's your answer. I like it. Give us your overclock and GPU picks for mining. Okay, so cool. So for you, what is your avenue for the new algorithm? What type of GPU are you kind of eyeing up to put on this? Where are you at with it? Because you've had the most experience with it at this point.
Yep. So I ran a couple of 3080s, and I think it was 1500 core and 2,500 mem. And I allowed the power draw to be off, so it would only draw whatever power it wanted. That was the overclocks that I was using for the rig that I was on. I threw a 3070 on, and I think it was 1200 and 2000 mem. And again, the power draw, I left it to do its own thing.
Just left it. Wow, I haven't done that with an algorithm in forever. Don't even put the power draw in, which is nice. Yeah, I think for me, day one, I have a 12 card 3070 rig is probably what I'll dump on it, which will be great. 3070s are kind of that happy median right in the middle there. I am going to be curious to see is it going to swap with MeowCoin? Right now, MeowCoin, I don't have the stats, but I would imagine AMD is much more popular with MeowCoin than NVIDIA right now, just based off of Cal. It sounds like things are going to swap, and it's going to go back to NVIDIA based off of just the direction that the new algorithm has gone. Does that sound accurate?
I think it will bring NVIDIA back into the conversation. And I think that's the important thing. So I love. So I'm a big Jeremy Clarkson fan, so you have to forgive me. Speed and power are basically my attitudes to mining.
There you go.
So I own basically entirely NVIDIA. So having something come back into that space where it's down to the AMD territory makes me insanely happy, because it's like running a V8 but without the fuel consumption. So I think just having NVIDIA in the ballpark of AMD again is
okay.
The outtake from this. It makes it much more attractive for an NVIDIA miner, which, let's be real, they're probably a little bit more accessible and a little bit more prevalent within the market, given the way that NVIDIA has sort of got their cards out there, which of course is what we want for everyone. We want anyone with a GPU to be able to mine.
So if everything goes, I guess I have two thoughts here. So first thought is, if the hard fork isn't as smooth from a miner's perspective, I'm not saying from your team's perspective, I imagine it'll go great, but from a miner's perspective, there may be some opportunity for those hanging out here in chat to get some higher yields early on. Like hour one, we may see an opportunity where yields are fantastic because nobody and their brother has swapped things over. Now, you've said it should be seamless based off of what you've heard, but I am skeptical. So I'm going to do my research here to find out, and definitely let you know if I hear otherwise, because I am very skeptical on like every hard fork I've been a part of. It's like, nope, if you don't make these changes at 12:01, your miner literally is going to sit idle, not doing anything. So yes, that's why I'm very curious to see what happens. Yeah,
look, it's quite possible that you'll see a couple of yield increases, and you know, for the wise miner who has been through this before, and it sounds like obviously you've been on these paths before.
Oh yeah,
be awake, be on it, and nail a few blocks in quick succession. So absolutely.
Yeah, definitely be cool. Guys, we have about 3 minutes left. Post any questions that you guys may have. We'll try to answer them in the best capacity that we can. Once again, if you guys are coming late to the game, please go back and watch. This is about an hour-long interview with Drew here talking about MeowCoin. They're making algorithm changes. The algorithm is going to be super impressive, down to the ETH hash days of efficiencies with your GPUs. A little less core intensive, putting a little more on the memory there, which is great. This will be a hard fork that you guys are going to see, so it may be a fantastic opportunity for you guys. Let's see what else we got.
The music question.
Oh yes, that's right. That determines it. That's right. They're like, hey, what type of music are you into? I don't know. He's from Australia. You never know. I mean, you never know what you're gonna get out there, guys.
How does Led Zeppelin, Fleetwood Mac, and Guns N' Roses fit with you?
There you go.
Does that pass? I'm terrified.
I like the comment there. His musical preference will make or break MeowCoin. There you go. See, I think you've qualified, which is great. That means you're most naturally born in the 80s or late 70s, which is fantastic.
Yes, 80s boy just here. Yes, pass. Yes, thank you. Christian.
There you go. Well, guys, we're going to wrap things up there. I appreciate you guys coming out to join me today. Please go back, check out the whole thing if you're coming in late. Drew, I appreciate your time today. Good luck with the hard fork and the changes. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens here in the future with MeowCoin.
Thanks, Hobbyist. Talk to you soon.
Take care, guys. All right, guys, that is going to wrap things up for today. I appreciate you guys coming to hang out with me. I love these impromptu streams, 5:00 p.m. This is crazy, you know. But that's going to wrap things up for today. Appreciate you guys coming to hang out with me today. Look forward to tomorrow's video. It will be on Caspa with Mr. DJ Minds. Take care.